Welcome back, everybody, to the Jonesboro Open, presented by Prodiscus. We are here in round 2 on the back 9. I'm Sarah Hokom here with Paige Pierce to call the shots. Welcome back, Paige.
Thanks for having me.
We just saw some fire golf. Bogey-free round by all of the ladies so far on the front, and we now have a 3-way tie for the lead with Kat, Paige, and Henna all at -11, and Rebecca tied on their heels at -10.
Yeah, as you said, Henna was shooting super well. She's 7 under through the front 9. Let's see how we all attack the back 9 once the course gets quite a bit harder on the back.
Still have some mild conditions out there. The wind is starting to pick up. We're starting to get a threat of moisture. But this side of heaven in Jonesboro, Arkansas, looks just as beautiful as ever. We're going to see some new challenges here on the back. Hole 10, 360 feet. This is a relatively straightforward shot from left to right. The fairway is a little bit tighter than what we've seen. There's a lot of danger, though, on the left side and the right side. So if you don't land in the fairway, you're likely going to be pitching out or in a really tricky lie. The green, again, with as this side of heaven is showing itself, is a sloped green, and we do have a pyramid basket here. It is sloped behind the green, so just asking for rollaways.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best designed holes on the course. It's a par 3 that's reachable for us and for the guys, but it requires a little bit of late turn that challenges you flipping it into the woods on the right. So you want to turn it, but if you turn it too early, you're kind of looking for a bogey.
There's a bit of a ceiling as well that Kat is there challenging, and she gets through great. Definitely plays to a sidearm or a lefty.
Mm-hmm. She didn't get quite enough turn, which takes that bogey out of play, but it also takes the birdie out of play. As you could see, she hyzered out a little bit long left and left herself with, 70-footer down that hill.
Becca wanting a little more turn, but she's playing it relatively safe.
Kind of close by Kat.
Be a little bit tricky of that kind of a hyzer around those bushes and trees.
Yeah, so number 1 objective, don't be in the woods on the right. So I'm going to aim wide on the left side with my Lucidex Convict and rely on that little bit of a late flip. So I'm also going to be joining the other 2. I think it's the better miss to have because, like we said, we're all bogey free at this point. So none of us want to start that now.
That'll tick off the pyramid.
Yeah, she did. But second time now in this second round where she's hit the pyramid and then skidded to 20 to 30 feet away. So she's going to have a slight tester for her 3. Catrina drops to a knee with that low ceiling and just puts one right up there for an easy par. I'm kind of sizing up my options. There is a little gap, but, it's a low percentage putt, so I just decide to pitch it out and take my 3.
With that downhill behind it, there's no need.
Yeah, that downhill definitely comes into play.
Slightly uphill putt onto the pyramid, slightly low. That's definitely the common miss.
Yeah.
And that will be the first bogey we see on this entire card.
Still a great round, though. Still at 6 under.
Yeah.
Nothing to hang your head about. And, you're walking on to hole 11, still feeling good. Catrina, routine tap in here. But honestly, these baskets make even your routine putts a little bit to think about.
Yeah. Definitely got to take your time, go through your whole routine, do your thing. This hole actually plays pretty tough. It was only one player got the birdie today, and that was lefty Christina Lincecum.
Good for her. That is
70% par otherwise. On to hole 11. This one has a downhill beginning, and then it takes a sharp dog leg left after about 300 feet. And then you've got about 250 feet to approach a left to right kind of guarded green. And this is I think this is a great hole. The fairways are fair, but the rough is rough. So if you miss your shot, you're likely pitching out or having trouble even pitching out.
Absolutely. Catrina's going with her overstable D1 here. She's just trying to throw it straight and let the disc lose speed and finish to the left. Really good throw from her.
Definitely plays to the righty backhand off the tee.
Rebecca's deciding between her trespass and her halo. She goes with the trespass, which is a little bit more understable. So let's see if she puts enough hyzer on it. Not quite. You know, it looked like she was intending on throwing the hyzer, but kind of had that last second of a turn. But honestly, that right side over there is fine.
That's definitely the right miss. Missing left is danger, danger, danger.
Mm-hmm. It just makes your upshot a little bit harder.
I mean, I think if you miss left, it makes your upshot impossible.
Oh my gosh, you're definitely par best case scenario.
Yes.
Best case scenario. So you see Rebecca way over to the side. She is going to have a very long approach. She's throwing that trespass again, knowing that it'll flip a tiny bit, but she doesn't quite commit to it. Rightfully so, because if you do, you're in those woods.
I don't think she's trying to get to the pin there. Yeah. I mean, 350 feet with a late flip is like, that's a sidearm.
And I'm going with my Felon here on a sidearm now. It's only about 220 feet.
Great shot.
Thank you.
I find a lot of sidearm shots from that range end up early right into those viney bushes.
Yes.
Viney kind of rough, and it is
mistake.
Really tough to get out of there.
Henna, backhand dominant player, is still going to force this putter over on a stall line, but it kind of clipped some branches and stopped her forward progress, so she's going to have like a circle two's edge putt that's pretty hindered by those branches.
Kat had a great tee shot there that set her up for a pretty standard sidearm approach.
Yeah, and we missed Henna's drive, which is very unfortunate because this was the most beautiful shot I saw today. But she threw the same shot in round one, almost picture perfect, identical. So let's see if she's going to do it again in round three.
Henna, without a really much of a look, has to pitch out to a 20-footer.
Kat left her sidearm a little bit long, but converted on her just outside the circle putt. I mean, this was right in the center of the change. She was very confident on her stroke there and takes her time walking it out of the basket.
Her putt has really come together this year.
Absolutely. She actually put some new putters in her bag. She showed them to me at Waco, that they were new, and she's loving them. Shout out to Zuka for sponsoring the Pro Tour. They make some really good carts that Sarah and I actually both use and love.
They're a great company to work with.
Henna's kind of waiting on that second card over there so she doesn't, putt in their backswing. Rebecca's going to tap out, and I'm also going to wait for them. It's actually you on the tee pad there.
Oh, hey. I made it over.
Nice. Good. And I'll tap out with my birdie there. I'm really excited about that because in the previous round I shanked my drive early and had no chance for that.
We saw you and Kat get the birdie there, and only 10% of the field actually got the birdie, with Madison being the only other one.
Nice.
Hole 12, 535 feet. The tee shot is basically a distance shot, maybe controlled distance for some of the longer arms, trying to get over this OB creek. And then the next shot is uphill to a downhill sloping green that is very, very, very steep. The first shot will be about 300 feet. The next shot will be about 250 or less, depending on how far you get up there. And people have to make a decision on the approach here.
Absolutely. Catrina throwing her D2. This is her money distance shot. She's not even actually trying to get any turns. She's just trying to confidently get it over and get as much distance as possible. But from there, you can't see the basket. So if you want to be able to see the basket on your approach, you need to get a little bit of turn on it and get to that short grass you can see on the right. And
the further up you get on this hole, the less extreme the up and back downhill approach will be. So it's definitely better to be up on the hill than further down.
Yes, definitely.
But some players like myself are just trying to get over that creek.
Yeah. And Rebecca here, she's throwing her Ballista Pro. This is her max distance driver, so she's also just trying to get a good move on it. Lining up, you can see she's lining up a little bit of turn on her wrist, but doesn't quite commit to it. She kind of pulled off on the follow through, and luckily that tree kicked her inbounds. You saw the look of surprise on her face.
So she's inbound short.
She is. Yeah, the tree kicked her backwards, and she stayed in bounds.
Very fortunate.
Yes. And this is Henna with, I think, the best disc in her bag, the Razory. She also threw this one on the previous tee pad. She throws this disc incredibly. Slight bit of hyzer.
Distance shot here. Control distance, maybe?
Yeah, slight bit of hyzer. Really powerful, so it flips up to flat, and she glides it straight for forever.
Great position. Rebecca trying to just get up to the top of this hill at this point. She's definitely out of range for the birdie. Navigating around that tree. Trying to get some distance up the hill. That's a great shot from where she was.
Absolutely. She's just outside circle 2, and like you said, birdie was out of play, but, you know, if she gets up and down, she's still bogey-free going into hole 13, so good spot to be. I'm throwing my Marshall here. I can't see the basket, but I know it's just right of that white flag I saw. Just gotta hope for no rolls, because that, like you said, that green is super, super elevated.
And with this sidearm approach, it's very likely that she'll get a roll away down that hill.
Yeah, especially with an H1, which still has quite a bit of speed, so when it hits the ground, it's gonna kind of roll. What are you throwing on your approach on this hole? What speed of disc?
An overstable fairway.
Fairway as well?
Yeah.
Have you been experiencing some rolls?
Yeah. I rolled all the way down to the men's tee on my approach shot yesterday. I thought I actually parked it. And there's that roll, but not too far there. That's good. It could have just easily turned up and went another 100 feet down.
Here's Catrina from Circle's Edge.
For the birdie. This is a tough one to kind of decide to run.
Yeah, you kind of saw her hesitation in that.
I mean, literally anytime you miss it, something like this could happen.
Yeah, and, you know, who's to say why, how, when it happened? But from my experience, anytime you have hesitation, you're thinking about worst case scenario. And so you have to think that that could have been
super pro tip right there. If you hesitate, lay it up.
Just lay it up, yeah. But
so
Catrina,
are you feeling like you want to lay this up?
I'm not. The only thing in my mind is hit the pole. And again, left side. I could not get away from that today. And it's not the worst miss to make. You know, I'm still hitting chains, so it's not leaving me with a far putt. But, you know, it sucks to hit that many chains and for it to not rest in the basket. So, you know, I'm going into hole 13 thinking flatter, more center.
And Henna for her birdie.
Kind of like Henna is. You know, she's been hitting great putts, and there's another one.
She has quite a bit of hyzer. Was that just because it was a downhill, or is that characteristic of her putt?
Her putt does have a little bit of hyzer, but I noticed on that one she was squatted down a lot more than normal. So I think she was trying to get her body down in line with the basket.
And straddle too.
Yes.
Always, for me, it makes it come out a little more hyzer.
Definitely.
Confident putt from Rebecca.
Yeah. You know, her putt, I remember seeing her. I didn't actually know who Rebecca Cox was 2 years ago at the Jonesboro Open. And I was sitting on those bleachers that you spoke about on the front nine, and I watched her card tee off. She mashed her drive down there and got inside the circle and then proceeded to 4-putt. And I remember thinking, this girl just crushed that drive, and you know how unfortunate it was to watch her putt like that. And you know, fast forward 2 years later, and she comes out swinging on the putting green. It's incredible to see the progress.
Definitely. Hole 13, 255 feet. It is a uphill right to left. You've got some. It's pretty straightforward hole, especially for a righty backhand. You do have this right side tree and again another sloped green that can cause a little bit of trouble, but it does play as one of the easier holes on the course, and all 4 of you all are going to be wanting to get this one.
Yes, definitely. This is one you absolutely want to be in the circle on, but the way that the slope is kind of sets up for a roll. Unless you hit the high side like Henna just did with her Titan, she's going to be, you know, just inside the circle on the left side, the high side. I'm throwing my Lucidex Felon. This is the most overstable fairway in my bag. I want to be left side where Henna is.
But you almost ace it.
Yeah, I hit the basket, they told me.
Oh, well, I
But
can, I
still
can see
went,
that now.
Yeah, still went to like 25 deep. I wanted it to be a little bit wider, but hey, you know, anytime you hit the basket, that's amazing. Rebecca here with her halo. She threw it nice and wide like I was wanting and got the favorable skip, so she's going to be, you know, 15 feet tops. Catrina with her H1 V2.
Also kind of coming in for that ace run, but getting that roll you were talking about, the unfavorable roll.
And I just want to speak for a moment on, you touched on the front nine, the veteran status of Catrina Allen. When we got up there and she saw where her disc was outside the circle,
Wow,
she was
what
like,
a putt.
another roll, 2 rollaways in a row, and then jammed
What a
an
putt.
outside the circle putt. You know, that just goes to show you, you know, if you stay focused, you can hit those putts.
This is also a tricky putt. Any misses, got a side hill, will likely roll to the bottom of the hill. Oh, she got a good kick off that band. Oh, left side.
Yeah, that one was more center, but it was high. It was high. I hit a lot of chains. Little high. That one hurt a little
Some
bit.
days it's hard to dial it in.
And Rebecca,
Slams it.
easy birdie for her, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think, you know, with the 43% of the field birdieing this one and 60% of the field getting into circle
Hi
one.
guys, I'm Alyssa Van Lannen.
We
You've
definitely,
probably
this
seen
is
me hiding
definitely
in
one
front
of the
of
more
the tee pad
gettable
or laying
holes.
in the bushes trying to get the best
and
shot.
now we have
For the
Alyssa
best
Van
moments in disc golf
Lannen's
on and off the course through my photos and videos.
Patreon
check out
commercial. She's the one that
Alyssa Van Lannen.
any photos you're seeing out there are Alyssa Van Lannen. She works with the Pro Tour and gets all the still images. So if you guys want to support her, check out her Patreon.
Hole 14, 520 feet, par 4. It's downhill. You've got a large OB kind of marsh area to navigate. Most players are actually going to lay up prior to the marsh and then throw over to get their birdie look. Some players, we might see a couple on this card, actually try to go over the full marsh and get an eagle look or an easy birdie.
Yeah, and we have Rebecca here with her Maverick. She's actually just going to go ahead and lay this one up. She doesn't really want any part of the OB. So, and I'm sorry, I misspoke. This is her compass. She is throwing her mid-range, straight and low, no chance of OB, but still bringing the birdie into play. Catrina is aiming for the same spot, a little bit different play though. She's going with her overstable fairway on a hyzer to get into that same spot. And Henna was kind of contemplating going for it, and we even spoke that, you know, we love this course, both of us, but we wish that there was more men's tees. And she laughed and joked with me that in Europe, there are no women's tees. And she practiced, when she played her practice rounds, she threw from the men's tees just because she loved them. And I said, well, Henna, if that's the case, you got to go for it. And, you know, if we can show them that we can get birdies on these holes.
If you guys get too many eagles, they're going to take away the ladies' tees.
Maybe they're going to back us up. So I had something to prove that we can birdie these holes, and I'm trying to go for the green.
And a little bit right side, but that's inside circle 2. Is that?
Yes, it is. I mean, those trees on the right side are going to kind of be hindering, but maybe there's a gap down there. You don't really know until you get down there. Rebecca with her Explorer. This thing is amazing. She's praying for it to skip straight, and it totally does. That thing listened to her. She said, skip straight, and it totally did. It was crazy.
And this particular basket is also, it's on a down log, and it's very high.
Yeah, it's almost acts as an elevated basket as well.
I would say it's even higher than the
It
pyramids.
is, even though it's not on one of those white sponsored signs. It's higher.
Yeah.
Catrina with a beautiful approach. She has an absolute tap in. And Henna looking to follow that up.
Looks like she did so.
Yeah.
And even from that little side hill, so you're a little bit elevated, even closer to the height of the basket. And for eagle.
Yeah, like I said, those trees could be hindering, and they absolutely were. I didn't really have a look. So I kind of gave it a bid, but I knew it was unrealistic.
You can tap.
Rebecca tapping in her birdie.
Because I'm 5 foot tall. My basket's 8 foot tall.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
And Black Ink
Never
Disc,
played disc
another
golf. Too
huge
far into the
supporter of the
jungle.
Pro Tour.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
That one hurts.
Yeah.
You finally dialed in that right side,
getting birdied, my
and
friend.
then it spit you out anyway. Wow, so
Yeah.
I mean, that I know it sucks, but, it just gives you a little bit of motivation for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it
Just all
does.
of those, you're playing really, really good so far, and just, that's good motivation. Just know that you can get all those back.
Yeah. It's one of those, I try to be really critical and think, was that actually a spit out? Or did I hit it a tiny bit high? Did I hit it a tiny bit hard? And that way you know what you can improve on. And I think that one may have just been a tiny bit too hard. With that elevated basket, it's, they can come out.
On to hole 15, 270 feet, basically a righty hyzer, slightly uphill. The left side bushes and trees are definitely a terrible place to be, but this is a very gettable hole. Little bit of side hill on the green. Again, there's always rollaways here, but very gettable hole, very standard for most of the players.
And a lot of players throw this one high and wide with like a stalling hyzer that is, fairway or distance driver. Like you see Rebecca doing here with her halo. She's aiming it high and wide and gets to circle's edge on the right side of the basket. And Catrina's throwing her H1 V2. This is Prodigy's most overstable fairway driver. She gets it out nice and wide, but you see that little divot down. If the disc is losing speed at that divot, there's a chance that it comes up short and just stays in that little divot.
And then if it has speed going into the hillside on the other side of the divot, it's actually going to skip straight rather than left.
Right, exactly. So Henna here with her Titan. She's loving this thing, and it's similar to every other shot she's been throwing with it. But again, when you're throwing it high and wide, it's a hard play. I found myself relying on a lower, straighter shot. This is my Lucidex Verdict. It's a mid-range, so I'm just trying to throw it low and flat and relying on the overstability.
I
And
think everybody should pay attention because it works.
I
Low and
think
flat
it's the shot, and
instead of
I'm
throwing
trying
the
to be
wide hyzer.
objective on it. I
Yeah.
really think it's the more higher percentage shot to
The
get
one-
you closer.
Yeah, the
you
ones
know?
I've seen that have nestled up there have definitely been the shot you're talking about. Low and flat rather than wide, hyzer and wide.
When you're on the lead card of FPO, you're probably gonna hit your 25 footers, but you don't have to putt.
Might as well make it easier.
Might as well. Ooh,
Henna says, nah, I'll just make this one.
I love playing with her. I really enjoy it. She's very positive. She's talkative. She's just excited to be here. She's 19 years old and she's just loving her time here and she's vocalizing how much she loves this course, and you can just see the excitement exuding from her. So we walk on to hole 16 with 3 birdies on that, and the scores are getting tight with 3 holes to go.
Yes, and that was one of the easiest holes, followed by one of the hardest holes. And actually, these last 3 holes are some of the hardest ones on the entire course. Hole 16, 520. The layup shot before the lake is either a low and flat sidearm or a wide hyzer backhand. And then from the bowl area, you have about 250 feet, slightly uphill, playing from left to right with a tree on the right side that could also grab you if you're coming from right to left. So this is a very technical hole.
Yeah, this is Catrina throwing her H1. Great sidearm line, honestly, exactly where you want to be, and she's just hoping for not that. You know, with the sidearm, you're just wanting it to sit flat, and it kind of rolls.
That's unfortunate. She probably wanted that a little farther.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, just so you're not on that elevated stance.
Yeah,
on your
try to get
shot.
down into that bowl
Yeah.
for the best look across the water.
And you see now Henna with her jacket on. It just started raining at this point. We actually had a backup, and we got to watch your card tee.
And the temperature dropped.
It did.
I would say 5 or 10 degrees in the last, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I got to watch your line. I was trying to imitate it.
Was the butt jiggle part of my line?
No, it was not. But I was really excited that you guys were still there because I could kind of see. Because I messed this shot up yesterday. But, when you're trying to copy Sarah Hokom, it doesn't really work out well.
I mean, I think
You're pretty good.
I think you can do it.
You're pretty good.
You can do it.
Yeah, I just put a little bit too much turn on that, and, I'm going to be left side.
My line wasn't very good. I was in the trees.
Yeah, but it came out nice
I mean,
and smooth.
I thought it was nice, but until I got down there.
And Rebecca Cox with another sidearm. So smooth.
Yeah, even
So
almost, it was
smooth.
almost a standstill.
She let it go a little bit late, but it's looking really good. And just for a player of her caliber to add another tool into her bag is really exciting to see.
Henna's got this tree in her way, and she's still like 350 from the basket.
And she waited for you guys to clear out, so I knew she was going for
That's
this.
a very difficult shot from all the way back there.
And this is with her Slady.
I believe.
Slady.
A lot of players would simply pitch up to the bowl from where she was. And you're throwing across.
Yeah, this is my
From a
gatekeeper.
standstill stretched out. Wow.
Yeah, this is a new mid-range that I'm absolutely loving. It's really straight. It just holds whatever angle, so I made sure to put that turn on it because you saw that Pro Tour flag kind of waving in
Was
my line.
Rebecca OB here?
No, neither of us were OB, actually. We realized it was actually a decent place to be. I would never throw over there on purpose, but we were both pleasantly surprised with what lies we were left. And Rebecca didn't have anything in her way and got her Explorer right up to, 20 feet.
And Kat had to pitch out from
did.
her position.
She did. She pitched to right there, and then, this is what she's left with, a standstill. And kind of puts a little bit too much hyzer on it and nose up. So she's outside the circle to save her par.
Henna with the layup.
And at this point, rain is coming down. We're doing everything we can to keep our discs and our hands dry.
So not favorable for scoring. But definitely a time to keep your head together and try to play it safe, try to hit your lines, keep the disc dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to keep the cameras dry. There's Alyssa right there. Oh, Catrina just a tiny bit low, hits the cage, and we'll have to settle for a bogey on this one.
And Rebecca for birdie.
Connected.
Bang, bang.
Yeah. She's bang bang. Speaking of, she's putting with the deputy. That's funny. As am I, and I'm just trying to tap out here and walk onto the next hole, with minimal damage.
This played as the hardest hole on the course today, and Rebecca got that birdie along with Haley King. Were the only other player.
All right. And Henna goes to tap out, and we will be on to hole 17.
So really tight race here. Kat with that bogey will be right in line with Paige and Henna. And then, of course, Rebecca not far behind. Hole 17, 530 feet. The initial shot has a slight hill that you kind of throw up and over, but then back down. It plays to a righty hyzer, about 300 feet. You can also play the lefty line or the sidearm and get a little bit more distance to a dog leg left to right, down to a sloped green, another sloped green, with really big danger on the right side, both on the tee shot and on the approach, as well as an OB fence on the left.
Yeah, there's a lot to
I
look
find the first shot
out
pretty
for.
technical.
I do too. It's really not. But if you're trying to round that corner, then it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you just throw a straight shot, it's really not that bad, which is exactly what Henna's doing here. She's actually just throwing a putter to just past the red stake and taking all the complication out of it.
And that red stake, again, is at 250 feet.
Yeah.
But it is downhill, so it's probably playing more like 220.
Yeah. And so my thought on that tee pad is straight. Don't throw it hyzer. Don't throw it anhyzer. Straight. And I still turn my wrist because, you know, just the mental game of golf. You
I
know,
think it's also
a
this,
dog leg.
Yeah, and also this slight uphill off the tee. I think that definitely tends to make players put a little more angle on it.
Yeah, and Catrina I think she slipped a little bit. She's in those woods on the right, which is absolute worst case scenario on this hole. There's not a whole lot to do from in there. It's just super tight and not manicured at all. And, you know, we're going to be looking at a really tough shot to get out of there.
Sidearm that a little bit high. Kind of cuts her off there, but great that she's throwing that shot.
Yeah, it's
great
amazing.
to see her.
I think it's the best way to learn is in competition when you have to throw it correctly.
At least to see where you're at with the shot, huh?
Right.
Henna with standard putter.
Stand still.
Yep.
The amount of power that girl has is quite spectacular. I didn't have much, honestly. It was hard to even jump this out of the woods to find a gap big enough for my putter to fit through.
That's when you go roller.
You know,
overhead.
I'm gonna have to practice that before I bust it out in a big pro tour event.
I thought you just said throwing those shots in a tournament is the best.
I don't even know which direction it's gonna go yet. So yeah, I just pitched out. Kat pitched out as well, but she put quite a bit of power behind it and got up to circle two's edge almost. Now I'm throwing my Marshall from here and it completely slipped out of my hand, but I got a really beneficial skip and I'm just inside the circle.
Rebecca with a similar shot.
She's a really powerful jump putt.
Yes, that was, how far was that? That was
It was
150 feet or something?
well outside of
feet?
circle two. And, you know, on those, keep in mind when you're watching this, she isn't trying to make those. Just because she's in a putting stance, she's not trying to make them. She's just trying to get herself close to the basket.
For par, left side.
Same story.
It's kind of like, what is that, a repeating trend?
Yes.
Broken record, there we go.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. Again, though, you know, that just shows the potential you have out here. Because that's very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, it is. Left side is. So, you know, I putted quite a bit after the round and will not be missing left tomorrow.
Working it out.
Yes. Rebecca from Just Deep connects.
For the par.
Really confident stroke. You can tell, you know, she is not scared of the basket. She is ready to get that thing in and move on to the next hole. I know we touched on it on the front nine coverage. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. But we were just talking about how we both feel that Rebecca Cox has a really big win coming up. And you know, at this point, she's one off the lead with me, Catrina, and Henna all tied at 13 under. And, you know, she's putting in herself in a good position to even make that win that we're speaking of this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, Henna making easy work of 17, getting the only birdie on the card, grabbing one more stroke to take solo lead. Moving into the second hardest hole on the course, hole 18. This is 818 feet, par 5. The initial shot is either a gap shot or a big hyzer around the outside with OB all along the left side. The next shot, you're navigating an uphill shot, which you're either going to go left or right of a large grove of trees in the center. And then your final shot is going to be approaching the green that is sloped from left to right with an OB wall all along the outside of it. So there's plenty of danger. The tee shot, if you take the gap shot, it's extremely tight and very far downhill. So the angle is very difficult to judge.
Henna yesterday had a great round going and just slightly early released this one, hit the tree, and so she's looking to correct, and she absolutely does. She makes the gap.
A little more turn than she
she's
wanted.
a little
She
right.
kind of snuck through there.
But I'm assuming she's stoked about that.
Compared to yesterday,
Yes.
absolutely.
And Rebecca actually vocalized and asked us, does anybody else take the hyzer? And, so she's lining up this safe hyzer. It makes the hole quite a bit longer. And like you said, it's already 800 feet. So for me personally, I don't see that as an option, but it eliminates all chance of OB for her. So it's a really good play.
And if you're not confident, I mean, with the backhand, it's like a downhill slight turn or straight shot. I mean, I find that if I had a confident backhand, I would probably take the hyzer and give up the birdie opportunity in order to achieve always get that par.
Yeah. Catrina throws the same shot as Rebecca, a little bit higher and a little bit more angle. So she's going to be quite a bit farther and more left.
And you're going the gap?
Yeah, I'm going the gap. I feel confident with this one. I'm throwing my Biofusion Defender. I pured it yesterday, a little bit of a late release today, but I got a beneficial kick. You never know what's going to happen when you hit a tree, but I kicked right instead of left, and I'm in bounds still. And here's Catrina with her D1. She's just flipping this thing hard and relying on its stability. She gets past the 250-foot stake. This shot was incredible. She put a really overstable disc on a severe turn and shaped it through the gap. It was
There's also
beautiful.
OB over there as
Yeah.
well, so she is also risking a little bit there. So that was excellent execution.
Rebecca with her Ballista Pro. She's just trying to get as far up there as she can. It's still well out of our range, so she's trying to get it to where her next shot is in range, and she lands kind of behind those trees.
And a little bit early or late as well.
But she snuck through.
Gets through.
Yeah,
And we
she
missed
got
your
up there.
second shot.
Yeah, I just threw a putter approach that was an Anheuser just to get myself into the center to right there. And then again, I'm just trying to get myself into the center. I knew with that drive, birdie was out of the question, so I'm just throwing two super safe shots to get myself with a par and get out of here. And this shot right here, everybody watch this. This is Rebecca's Maverick. She's going under that branch on a turnover angle. If she turns it too much, she goes OB right, and if she doesn't turn it enough, she goes OB left. And she puts the exact amount of turn on it and gets herself just outside the circle. It's a really good shot with a low ceiling.
Might be a candidate for your nice line segment, possibly.
I asked the Disc Golf Pro Tour for that clip, and I told Rebecca I would like to interview her about that shot.
Go check out Nice Line with Paige.
Yeah, and this is Henna. I mean, like we said, she was 7 under through 9. Her back nine's also been equally impressive, and she's now up there for a birdie on 18 as well, which is, you said, the second hardest hole in the course.
Yes. Which she actually struggled on yesterday.
She did, but
she was 8 down or something going in, and then triple bogeyed.
Yeah.
So she's feeling pretty good to even have a look at birdie.
Absolutely. And like I said, I knew birdie was out of question. I'm just putting it up there, tap in, stress-free par. And this is for Rebecca to capitalize on that incredible shot we just saw. A little bit outside the circle.
For birdie.
Oh, tiny bit low. She really wanted it. You could tell in her demeanor. Hot golf, though.
Yes. Oh, and Henna gets the roll away.
You know, it sucks because a tiny bit low can dictate an added stroke. You know, with at the Jonesboro Open with all these elevated greens or slanted greens, you're prone to rollaways.
Guess you just got to make it.
You got to make it, yeah.
And don't even hit the pole below, because the pole below could roll you away as well.
And so now she's left with this for a par with lots of people watching and, you know, her sponsor as the title sponsor. And she expressed that she had a little bit of nerves. But, you know, even with...
Cat with a birdie.
Yeah, Cat with an incredible birdie. Even with that 3-putting, she had a great round. She's well within position to still come out with a potential win.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, she's absolutely just right there. And, you know, she's got tomorrow to work out her nerves on that 18th green.
Yeah, and she's going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, the caliber of her play, she's going to be in contention for lots of major championships. And so, you know, it's kind of good to have this as like a test event almost.
Absolutely. So we see Catrina takes the lead with that birdie on the final hole. Blomroos and Rebecca are one back, and Paige is one back of them. It is a tight race going into this final day. We're looking forward to seeing round 3.